So they basically was just defining their thoughts about feminism on those two couple of people. Anything stick out to you guys? Anything you guys wanted to speak on?
Yeah, I want to empathize with the feminists. If I was a woman, I'd probably be sitting around whining about dumb shit too. Hey, I want all the fucking power. Like, yeah, forget men. I want all the power. So, like, I understand. You know, if I'm not if I'm not the powerful group, I might be like, hey, yeah. So if I could just turn this a little bit, I'll get more power. Like, okay, I don't know. I'm just saying. You know, just empathize with the feminists. Shout out to the feminists.
Hey, yo, I just want to say I watched the whole thing. All right, and
all right, just make sure you don't go too deep into the conversation, Trigger Mike.
Yeah, I was gonna say I watched the whole thing, and I think Pearl held it down. Her talking points are consistent, you know. As far as feminism goes, man, like feminism being dead, I think feminism is dying, and here's why. Feminism has reared its ugly head throughout history. It's not a modern thing. During different times in history, you can read, you know, Greek, Roman, all that stuff. Even in Egypt, it's reared its ugly head, but it is dying. I look at feminism like a virus. All right, so you know, I'm a science grad, so I'm gonna try to make this make sense. So the first stage of the virus was like awareness, right? Attachment of the virus. That's the awareness that women want equal rights. Okay. The second is penetration. We saw it start to infect all of these women, even the women that it wasn't meant to infect, which were black women, had no business joining the feminist movement, but yet they did anyway. All right. So the third is expression and replication. So now we've seen for generations how they broke apart the families. Their daughters have adopted it. Just easily they have adopted it. And the fourth part is release. So now I believe we are in that release segment of feminism, right? The virus is kind of dying, but here's what it's done. All right. So women have begun to realize that, oh snap, feminism doesn't net me anything. By 2030, half of the women in America will all women will be single, half of all women. That is the net gain of feminism in general, right? So they're looking at my family. We have generations of women who say, I'm alone. My children had no father. I don't have generational wealth. I don't even own a home. I have to live and look for my children to take care of me, you know, this type of stuff. So you have generations of people saying this has gone bad. That's why I believe it's dying, because we've seen it in history. It's just something that comes like a virus and then goes away, because women realize everything that we're talking about is complete BS. We need men to survive. We behave like we don't, and then we ultimately suffer the consequences of it.
I'm with Trigger Mike, except for one thing. I mean, Trigger Mike you got a channel, Trigger Mike? Because I need to follow you, bro. I need to follow you. I like what you're saying, but I don't agree with it. The fact that it's dying. I think it's alive and strong. I think feminism is alive and strong. And there's two things. One, I think it's alive and strong, but there's a hard line being drawn in it now. And women are going to have to pick a side. And that's the part that's exciting, because you got sisters that's saying, I ain't with that feminism shit. And you got sisters that's embracing it like it's the coming of Christ. And because they are drawing a hard line in it, saying, no, I don't want to be no strong and independent woman. I want a man. I want to be feminine. I want to be soft. I want to live a soft life. I want my man to, I want him to lead, and I want to submit to him, and all that bullshit, all that boss bitch shit that you talking, y'all do that over there. And then you got the women over there saying, yeah, we boss bitches over here. And that's how. So I think what's happening is feminism isn't dying. No way. Trigger Mike. No way. It's here. Especially feminism. You know, you guys already explained you guys the four versions, and the fifth version that's coming, right? Version 3 and 4, them shits ain't going nowhere. 5 is on its way. So, but we're drawing the women are having to draw a line, and they're having to pick a side as to which one they're going to be on. Are you going to be on the strong, independent feminism side, sexual liberation side, which is version 5, or are you going to be more traditional? If you haven't been, are you trying to learn how to be? The other thing is that sister that was on the panel just a minute ago, she said, white women were the face of feminism originally, but I don't think so now. I don't think so, especially with version 3 and 4 with the whole individualism. And then now we get into sexual liberation. I think that's rock solid. When you hear strong and independent woman, what pops in your head? You can ask any culture. When you hear of I'm a strong and independent woman, who pops in your head?
Only black women.
That is the face of modern day, today, 2023 feminism.
I think it's worse than all of y'all saying.
So just let me just to Shannon's point. So I believe it's a matter of perspective, because I definitely agree they drawn a hard line in the sand. Now even black women, but mostly white women and other races of women, are starting what's called the new traditional woman movement, because even though you can get money, you can do all this stuff, you ain't shit if you can't get a man. And that's traditionally the measure of a woman, period. Right. So that line that you said is drawn in the sand. If feminists were an army, how do you kill or defeat an army or a brigade? You divide them up. So that's why my perspective is it's dying. They've been unified for a very long time. But now I see all of these factions, all of these battalions going every which way. And they're women. They're not men divided. They're women divided. So they're going to fall even faster.
And those numbers,
that's why we're here.
Hold on, y'all.
those numbers are minuscule when you think of the world at large. The truth is that feminism is built into y'all culture. It's built into our culture. It's to the point where men don't. It's to the point where women don't have to elevate themselves to men. It's to the point now where it's better to be accepted when a man brings himself down to a woman. Sports, transgenderism. What is y'all talking about? Y'all live in your workplace, the place where you go to make money. You got to call somebody a he, she, him, her. You got to respect a man for walking up with a beard, with lipstick and makeup and a skirt on.
You get them pronouns right.
Otherwise, you can get walked out the door from your job, or you can have your business boycotted and canceled. And y'all think this is ending? It's being inbred into your children. It's over. It's OV. These women that y'all saying making these movements, they're minuscule in the numbers. Minuscule. You been to Dallas or Houston lately? You can't tell a woman hello, let alone check her and try to tell her something about herself. You will go to jail just for speaking to her wrong. Now y'all think feminism going? It's inbred in your culture. It's the American way, baby.
My question is, I just got a question. How do they have power? Because we're giving it to them. You know, white America or whatever. But why are men giving these goofball ass women the power to sit around whining about this stupid shit in the first place?
So yeah,
that's my question.
It's not
because
all
they
men.
Don't have any power. It's men who are giving them power, because men are the ones who started this feminist bullshit. A Rothschild, if I'm correct or not, y'all let me know. A Rothschild started all this dumb shit. So my question is, the women don't have no damn power. It's men behind this pulling the strings. But what are men getting out of a whole bunch of women just acting like assholes? That's my question to y'all.
Well, that's what gynocracy means. So, you got patriarchy, you got matriarchy, but the gynocracy is where laws are made that goes against men's interests to the best interests of women's society to appease women's emotions and sensibilities.
But so why does anybody care? Is the question. What do we get out of this shit? Stupid ass women run around just acting.
Nigga, the same thing you said.
You get a nut.
You trying to get whenever.
You get a nut.
Yeah, but so Mr. Letgo, you're absolutely right though. It is not men. It's not the average man feeding into or playing into feminism. Feminism and every bit of its profit and gain is by rich white men. That's who runs America. All right. So I've always said, because every time a woman wants to say we have power, I say, no, you don't. Name me one political, economic, or social engine that is financed by a woman, owned by a woman, and the ultimate beneficiary of the profits are a woman. You can't name one.
No sector of the planet.
Power.
But how many women can you name that influence these very things? Did you hear what I said? So I told y'all, power ain't nothing. Influences everything. If I can get you to think the way I want you to think, I am your God. Millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire. They don't have to have physical power when the very dudes you trying to save will be the one that shoot you in the street for them.
Shit, that's marriage laws. That's family court.
And feminism, I would argue, has been around since Adam and Eve. I was just going back to
the women, not the problem.
Yeah.
Keep telling y'all this. It ain't the women. They doing what they do. It's us. We the ones who out of pocket.
Yeah. Because in Genesis, it talks about it's Genesis 4, where God is telling he's pretty much giving the consequences to the man, the serpent, and the woman. And the one thing that he tells the woman is that, like, you're going to try to overrule your husband, but he's going to rule you. That's in Genesis 4:7. So this has been going on since then, right? So this is, and as Ricky alluded to, it's not going away. And it's simply because it's crazy. Me and my late wife had this conversation on a podcast about how men are have the power, but the woman has the influence. It says it's like, even though the men are rowing the boat, it's as if it's the women that are controlling the ship.
That's gynocracy.
Yeah, and it's like, and I was like, why would men give their power away? Well, it's because, as if you look at it from a scriptural standpoint, Samson was so Samson and Delilah, he was so infatuated with the sex from Delilah that he got weakened, so to speak, and gave away his power, right? And that is what's going on. Dudes are like, hey, this woman right here, I like her, or I lust for her so much. And when we having this pillow talk, I'm gonna give her as much information because I feel like this is we're connecting in this manner. I think Trill may alluded to this before. This is how dudes get got, right?
The pillow talk, boy. That pillow talk.
Because you're giving so much of your information to this woman, not knowing who she is ultimately, right? And by default, she's going to have that be in her pocket and use that on you later, right? That's why we kind of talk about men. You don't really need to tell all your innermost thoughts and feelings to women, because if you do, then they will at point use that to their advantage, right? And so therefore, that's how you can tell that feminism is not going away, because it's literally there was a book that was written about how they was going to what's the word I'm looking for? Infiltrate the United States. This was like early 80s, and all the things that are in the book are coming to fruition. Media, politics, and that eludes and goes into the family. Like what Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union is doing, like they are on front and center of what they're saying that family should look like, and that's not going.
Behold a pale white horse.